right now. After I had a fight with the phone and had to cancel it twice. Ugh, get on the rack. Hi guys. Let me make sure I got my volume adjusted here. Okay. Yeah, I'm here finally. You heard that. I'm having a fight with the phone. Hi Blue. Let me make sure I can get the live chat up on the laptop. Yeah, it wants to constantly orientate upright, and so it's like a battle trying to get this thing to actually go the direction that I want it so that the camera's the right way. Just annoying. Very, very, very annoying. Okay, my channel. Live now. Let's test. Do I have sound on the laptop? Okay, testing one more time. Awesome. Okay. Hi, Shar. Hi, Blue. Phthalo blue, my favorite color. So, yes, I was not kidding. I have a deer skull sitting here. And last time I did this, I had worked on a coyote skull. And it's going to be a little hard to see it on this camera. But I had attached a coyote skull that I had painted to this weaving that I did in a birch branch. And this thing actually hangs up the long way, but I'm not going to fight with my phone to try and show it that way. But you can see I had just done a tree on this skull, and then I had lacquered it. And that's what I'm planning to do here. At Twin Cities Pagan Pride, I had, there was a bow maker there, and he had actually a lot of branches of yew wood, which is really, really expensive, especially in our area. And he gave me a couple of forked branches so that I could do similar to what I did there in the birch. And he said he wanted to see what I would do with it after he saw that weaving at our table. And obviously the weaving didn't sell, but had a lot of interested people in it, so that was fine by me. The project originally, I had not done any weaving for. Oh yeah, sure, Oscar, you gotta be in with the dragons. Move, cat. Of course he's gotta be right in there. And then he gives me crabby kitty look. Cats. Hi, Vincent. Anyway, the piece had attracted a lot of attention, and it was done by accident because we had another pagan event the year before where I was teaching weaving, and I hadn't done any weaving since I was 15, I think, and obviously caught on to it really, really fast. So this skull, pretty much anything I've got, I can tell you a story behind it. This skull came from a fishing supply store near Duluth, Minnesota, and I had paid $6 for it, which to get a full rack like this, I mean, this has got all of the spikes on the rack there, and you know, usually these are really expensive, but to find it for $6, I was pretty happy. And it's been sitting in a box for a while. So, one of the things I am going to try to do is blacken in the eye holes first. Then we're going to lay down some base colors. Actually, I should do the base colors first, I think. So, got my handy dandy plastic tray again. And let's get some of the extra paint out of this. I just woke up, so I'm slightly scattered yet. Had to take tramadol last night and still didn't sleep very good. Unfortunately, what that does is it gets me into, it cuts the surgery pain, but then it gets me into such a deep sleep that I feel like I stop breathing, and then I keep waking up over and over again outside of the very bizarre dreams that I get. And so it's not a good rest, but then neither is being in so much pain that I can't tolerate it, you know? So it's like, well, what do you do? Can't wait till all the surgery stuff heals. So I'm just using acrylics again. I'm using Apple Barrel and just other ones. I've got Delta Ceramcoat here, which works really good for on skulls. And I had a thick gesso in a jar that I had used for this to coat it in the first place. So let's also get a darker blue. And then I'm going to need a yellow, if you can kind of get an idea of where I might be going with this one. I just had this in my head last night, so we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I actually do stop breathing when I sleep. CPAP helps so that usually I don't have too much of problems with that. I've always had issues with it, even when I was younger and I was really, really super skinny. My mom would have to come in and check on me and make sure that I was breathing because I would just randomly stop. And so my weight isn't the issue there, but it really does get worse if I'm taking, if I'm taking narcotics, which slow down your respirations in the first place. That's going to be an issue, because that is a well-known side effect of narcotics. And so it's leaving me a little wonky this morning. But the fact that I'm still functioning is pretty cool. I like that. Acrylics do dry fast, so doing this kind of technique, I have a different way of blending. Fiona Robertson is doing paintings in acrylic, and she's used to doing oils like I had started out in oils. But she's still practicing wet on wet, which works out really, really nice in oils for doing landscapes and stuff. I love wet on wet. But this case, I have to work in thinner layers and then start just soft brushing and dry brushing between the layers to get everything to blend. And so that's where I'm going to be working here. Because this is such a big piece with so many nooks and crannies, it's not a flat surface area, and so it needs to be treated a little bit different. When all is said and done, I'm going to want this to be very high gloss. I want it to be super shiny. So I will be using Delta Satin Exterior Interior Varnish. And this one will also soak into the bone very well. It's a polyurethane brush-on varnish for indoor and outdoor protection. And so I'm not going to coat the horns, but I will do the entire skull inside and out just to kind of strengthen the bone a little bit more. Actually, it saved that piece of coyote skull because that thing is so, so thin and fragile. And it had dropped at Twin Cities Paganicon and had hit the pavement. And the varnish actually held everything together without any cracks or anything. So, I mean, it's super good. And it's a product that I really, really like. And I'm trying to paint some of the under bone structure, and I'll get a lot of these areas underneath that are not painted right here and not primed will be done with black before I varnish the whole thing, because I like that depth that the black provides into the bone structure. So yeah, kind of seeing a little bit of my process here and my thought process on these things. And yeah, I'm a little breathing wonky this morning too yet. Just tired. Let's see. some tricks to slow acrylics down using a wet palette. Uh, you have 4 armies of miniatures. I have a bunch of miniatures. I have the pewter. I have to dig those out too. The lead pewter original D&D miniatures. And then I also have large dragon I had brought out in another live stream before. Dragons of Elmore series. And so yeah, I have some fun things I want to finish. And now I'm going in with the second color of blue, and you already notice this is starting to really, really pop. And it's just wet enough still that it's going to blend. And if it doesn't, then I add a little bit more of the darker blue, and I just keep working back and forth until everything smooths out. If I get a little bit on the antler, I really don't care. And this, oh, I'm going to be going black right there anyway. That doesn't matter. There's even some pieces of hair and cartilage that had dried to the bone that won't even come off. I wasn't going to fight with it. I just painted over them. The nice thing, what I like not extending the acrylics for this though, and not getting them to stay more wet, is that this is going to dry faster so that I can lay over the actual detail painting that I want. And I think I got one in my head that I want to do. So we'll see how it goes. Again, something odd, a little bit spiritual, a little bit pagan. The fact that this is going to be paired up with you wood has me just really excited, because that's really a hard wood for me to find. So I cannot believe the guy gave me 2 branches, and my husband's like, "Do you know how expensive that stuff is?" Like, yeah. I'll just be partying over here. Yeah, although I found some really, really good detailed miniatures. My husband wants this one, this griffin done. And they've got like almost the individual feathers and the detail lines in the feathers. And this miniature is Nolzor's Marvelous Miniatures. And I paid like $5 for this. So I was pretty excited about that. But you have to make sure your paints adhere. It's like painting Breyer horses or My Little Ponies, as you've got all these layers of Mr. Super Clear spray you got to use and stuff like that to just make the paint stick and stay. And that part, you know, it's not as fun as painting on the old lead metals, but I'm not giving up my old lead metals either. I know I could probably sell them for a lot of money, but they've been with me some of them have been with me since I was like 13 or 14, you know, when they started making them. And I don't want to part with those. If anything, my daughter's the artist in the family too, is she'll get those and be able to do with what she wants, or just keep them. You know, they're kind of an unusual heirloom for a lot of people, you know, and especially now. You say, yeah, these miniatures contain lead, and people are like, what? And they're part of my personal history too. A person I used to DM with that used to DM for me in junior high school and then high school, had known Gary Gygax. And so there's a little personal history with the game there. And then, of course, you know, meeting my husband, playing D&D and stuff. You know, it was, so there's things I just don't want to part with. And one of my painted miniatures is my actual character from when my hubby Troy and I started playing. Yeah, so now I'm just working in the yellow. Really no super rhyme or reason to this, just getting the color laid down. And some of this doesn't have to blend in as neatly, but I'm going to make it do it. I actually love painting on natural objects like gourds and especially bone. I don't know what it is. It's just the texture of the material and it's so absorbent to the paint. And it's just something I really, really like working with. Okay, let's go back a little bit to the teal. Or the turquoise, however you want to. I will be decorating the antlers with a little bit of leather and some beads on this one. I have a few skulls that I've got sitting around, and I have cow leg bones. I have a bunch of coyote jaw bones that I got from Lupa Greenwolf, who's a pagan author and artist. And she's one of those that definitely is not a vegan pagan. Sometimes she comes under fire for it, but she does what she does. But she takes like deer hide and wolf hide and stuff, and she'll make entire masks and stuff like that. So she's sent me some bones over the years and ended up meeting some pretty cool people. And I'm actually going to run that and highlight the openings a little bit more. I just got that feeling that that's what I want to do. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I'd love to see you painting the minis, Vincent. That would be cool. Once things settle down, if I'm not back to working 6 days a week, which I don't want to be, because I'm tired. That gets hard because I never felt like I was home because I pretty much wasn't home. I like to be able to get caught up on a lot of things like that, and the D&D miniatures definitely are something I want to get caught up on. I have a little bony prominence right there. Okay, I'm just kind of trying to highlight some of the bone structure just a little bit. I came really close at Twin Cities Pagan Pride to buying a horse skull that somebody was selling. But I decided not to, and somebody else bought it. It's a oddities store in Minneapolis, I guess, or private seller, but I'm hoping next year that they might have another one and I'll be in a better spot to be able to buy one. So I'd love to be able to work on a horse. Yeah, I'm actually quite happy with that. Let's grab a little bit white. I'm going to do one more layer. Remember to shake the paint. Do I want to do Ceram Coat or do I want to do the Craft Smart? Use up the Craft Smart. Again, one of those paints that I'd found at the thrift store. I'm just doing really light dusting here. Now I could go and do a really, really detailed, realistic painting over top of this, but I don't want to. I'm gonna go more abstract like I did with the coyote. Okay. And there's the big brush, at least for the moment. All right, something to drink. Got Fresca today, black cherry citrus. No sugar. All right. Some of the colors I'm still gonna need out. How do I want to do this? Yeah, okay, I'm seeing it. Modify the design I had worked in my head before I fell asleep last night. Is this paint deciding it's not going to come open? That's one of the paints I'd picked up at the thrift store, so a little goopy in the center there. See if it comes out. Thrift store is awesome, unless you can't get the paint out. All right, do I have wire in here? No, but I have these wonderful bead tweezers. That'll work. I'm doing surgery. Okay, where's the hole? Huh. Aha! I think I got it. Yeah, I could have been a little more prepared there. Check to make sure I can get the paint out of the container. If this doesn't work, I know where there's a piece of wire and I'll have to run and get it. Aha, there we go. Got it. Beautiful. And what do I want to do with this here? I need browns. Still going to do the tree in the background, but I'm going to change things up just a little bit. Still get myself covered in paint because that's important. Have to wear as much paint as I put on the canvas. All right. A little bit of black, a little bit of darker brown, a little bit of lighter brown. So I've got here Craft Time Brown from Deco Art, another thrift store find. And I used Liquitex Soft Body Raw Umber, and then Craft Smart Black. And the brush I want, okay. I'm just going to lay in some background first. Probably should have done this in just small dots, but that's okay. That will be changing. And it's pretty amazing how quickly you can work up doing trees and things like that, just by playing with dots and odd shapes, and it doesn't have to be precise. Again, Bob Ross thing. Painting a happy tree right there. A happy little tree. And as it gets darker, I'm going to add lighter colors up here too, so it'll stand out more against the darker blues. Okay, what is this? It's a happy tree. And thank you, Blue. I love the color choices on this. It's pretty. And again, I want to keep this simple because there's going to be a lot of detail in the weaving that this is going to get paired with. Another trick too that I wasn't thinking for some people who don't do a lot of landscapes or anything, or abstracts like this. I don't have one. Well, how about that? I haven't used it in years. It's in my face painting stuff. They'll have a fan brush, which has got the fan at the end of it. And if you allow yourself to beat the daylights out of a fan brush so that the bristles are just kind of all scraggly and tore apart, that's great for making random leaves and stuff because the texture is so nice to work with. All right, so let's switch over. I'm not even cleaning the brush off. We're going to lay in some of the branches. And branches are not hard. You just squaggle them around. Anybody can paint trees. And I don't do straight trunks either. When doing this stuff on gourds and stuff, you can do like Halloween and things like that, and then you just work with an orange background and you do all blacks and really, really dark browns, and you just keep wiggling the brush around and you're going to get a really nice tree shape. Versus what a little kid will do, you know, where they have just straight drawings of trees. And I'm going to be taking a smaller brush and laying in tinier branches here too pretty quick. So how to paint happy trees today. Thank you, Bob. Okay, smaller brush yet. Gotta find one. I'm gonna eventually have to replace this brush and it is so beat up. Thank you, Praz. I'm gonna move the camera just a little bit here so it's easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. And welcome to popping in to see what I'm doing. This is one of my more abstract things versus my dragons and horses and people. I've done portraits of babies and stuff like that for some of the patients' families. But sometimes you get it in your head where you just kind of want to play around. And in case you didn't hear it, this is going to be paired up. It's going to be on a weaving that I'm going to do on yew branches. And so I'm going to have more of the detail go in the weaving versus on the painting, because this is going to stand out anyway. You can work up smaller branches pretty quickly. And a lot of these are going to get covered up. But I like to work in layers, and I like to add depth to my layers. I think my mom was doing all of this with just tiny brushes, including the entire background and everything on her paintings. That's the way she was taught in art school in Germany. And it's like, I really don't want to put myself through all that work, especially after face painting and you have a lineup of kids. You can't afford to take all that time and do that. It doesn't work. Okay, before I go and start laying down more leaves over top, I'm just laying down some darker color on the wood. It's going to give it a little more depth. And really, even realistic painting is about creating illusion of shape and form and color and making people think that there actually is the figure there. And abstract to me is more of that illusion too. It's not my favorite painting style, but I will do a lot of it because it just conveys a feeling, and I really like that. Okay. Let's do a little bit of yellow in here, I think. Again, want to add a little bit of highlight in here, but I don't want to go stark white. But I don't want to take away from the background either. Don't you fall asleep on me, computer. Thank you, Char. I'm a bit of an oddball when it comes to art. And I had a fantastic teacher in junior high school and high school for 8 years. I had the same person as my art teacher. And she was constantly having fights with my mom to keep me in art. Because my mom's like, you're not going to make any money in it. You're wasting time. You need to be doing other things. And you know, a lot of people back then had that kind of view about artists, that the only way you became famous is if you died. You know, like Van Gogh or some of the other ones. And so she didn't want me pursuing it. Or choir, and I did both, and I had choir teachers fight with my mother about that too, but my art teacher stuck with me through an awful lot, and really big influence, and I'm glad I had that influence. Let's see, what brush do I want to work with now? I can't wait. I'm getting a caddy that I'm going to keep my brushes in on my desk. I'm so happy. Now what do I want to do? Let's go with a little lighter green. So now I'm going to start layering more leaves on here. And I'm going back with a bigger brush again. Some of this is going to go right over top of those branches I just did. Let's go more yellow up this way. I think we're going to leave that one branch kind of dead there. Just because I kind of like it. No Sir Meows-a-Lot, the cat outside my window this morning. A couple bunnies and a squirrel. I'm facing my window here, facing the backyard. We have this one cat that he is the noisiest kitty when you go outside and you talk to him. So I called him Sir Meows-a-Lot. And he is actually very friendly. He just gets spooky, but he'll come up to you and get petted. Then he walks off and meows some more. But he's not there this morning. Oh my God, I'm sounding like Bob Ross. That's awesome. I kind of like that. That was very Bob Ross-esque of me. Okay, I think I'm going to throw a little orange on here too. And that's what we've got so far. I picked up this really nice orange at the thrift store. I tried to do some gardening praz, and we do really good. Hi, Nim. We do really good with the plants, but this last couple of years have been really hard to keep up with, especially since hubby was having a lot of trouble with doing a lot of activities, and my kids aren't here anymore, so I don't have them helping. And then, this year I'm not supposed to be lifting right now, so the fall work is going to be delayed until it's probably colder than crap outside. And, that is what it is. But, yeah, normally, I let the dandelions grow in my yard because I eat those. I also have Creeping Charlie, which is edible. It's a mint imported from Europe. And it's used for ground cover, and it's also pretty invasive, but it's edible. And we found out that hostas are edible. I've got those growing. I have Solomon's seal, which is another edible, and that's growing. And then we got raspberries and blueberries. By the way, Praz, that's my husband there, Tez Catlapoca. or Tez cat. That's hubby, and so yeah, he teases me about grazing in the yard. And then his mother kind of teases me now about it too. Because I'll go over there and I graze in their yard too. I'm a goat. That's gotta be it. But yeah, hostas actually taste a little like asparagus. And we double checked everything with the University of Minnesota, so you know it's not just these random websites or anything like that. So we know what is edible and what isn't. So, oops, a little long, but that's okay. We'll fix that. It's still abstract, so who cares, right? Yeah, that orange just made a little bit of depth of color there, which I really like. And I came on that batch of grass there with a really odd angle. So let's fix that. That's okay. All right, a little bit more in the front. Actually, the back of the tree is looking pretty well done. I like having that dead branch sticking up. So now it's just blending. Get the tree to look like it belongs. And it's actually growing and not just floating in mid skull. A few more bits of spots that look like grass here and there. I'm learning to paint at all these weird angles too. Now, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. How I'm going to do the next step here. Yeah, it's almost 10 a.m. here. Oh, okay. And hi, Fiona. Thank you for popping in. All right. I gotta look at something really quick. And yeah, I do visual searches on things. Let's see. Sometimes I do have to look at images and get an idea. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Okay. I think I got it. I do like that idea. Oh, stop going off camera, Christine. I wanted to add a little bit more detail. awful lot. Okay, just a little bit there. Now, oops. Well, I don't have a face that lends well to portrait since I gained all this weight. I used to, but then I've got my grandmother's jaw structure, which is really wide. uh, sorry. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, now let's see if I can pull this off. So my intention was to have something directly in front of this tree. Let's see if I can accomplish this. We'll see. There's a method to my madness. And I'm either going to ruin this or it's going to work. A glorch? I hope it's not a glorch. That would make me very sad. Then to try and get the proportions right on this curved, weird, bumpy surface is always fun. I'm probably not going to get it right, in which case I'm going to have to adjust the background a little bit, I think. But we'll see. Oh, I missed a giggle. What was the giggle? Hi, Mrs. D. I wonder if... Oh my God, Fiona. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's funny. Oh geez, that was epic. So beaver do make good pets then. Oh dear. This might not work so well on this shape of this. Let's see. And of course I'll have to highlight it so it stands out more from the tree behind it. Again, it just has to be abstract but convey the shapes is all I'm concerned about on this. And I'm sorry I'm going off camera again. I'm trying to see what I'm doing and get this right and show you guys all at the same time, and it's a challenge. There we go. Okay. Getting it. Getting it. Yay. Oh my gosh. I have not even attempted to do the shape of a deer since I probably was 16. Oh, awesome. Yay! Yay! Deer! Deer! Oh my word. I'm a happy camper. But we do need to highlight just to make him stand out. Have to kind of fake it and make it look like there's a little bit of light falling on him. Get him separate from the tree back there. Get the horns highlighted. Whoops, and I lost that one. Okay. All this work just to paint a deer in the foreground. I had to fake the tree. Oh, I'm excited. All right. There is our deer. I did all this because I wanted that. Let's see. What are you guys saying here? Nine a.m. PST. So, the roast is starting now then? Oh, 1 hour. Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So now I'm going to start working and throwing more browns in the grasses here just to blend the deer in a little bit. Oh, I'm so excited. That worked out just the way I wanted it. I am really thrilled. Holy cow. Sometimes I do these random things and I'm like, oh my God, I just did that. And it just gets me so excited. And I think I just hit one of those moments. Well, hopefully the captain isn't going to wait too long because hubby and I gotta go and get some groceries and stuff today yet. Well, while we're waiting for that little bit to dry, I'm going to take a little bit bigger brush and I'm going to fill in some of these gaps in the skull here now that I got the painting part done. Just to get inside there because that doesn't look complete to me. Just needs that gap filled in. And some of this is still, some of the green and stuff is still a little bit wet. but that's all right. I just got to get it dry enough so that I can sign the front. So while we're waiting, I'm going to do the black details on the inside, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of dots and detail work right on the inside of the eye sockets, not to make it look like eyeballs. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how awake I am, because I did not sleep very well last night, Char. It was really bad. I wasn't hurting, but I wasn't breathing. You know, the narcotics that I had to take, unfortunately, I was not breathing very well when I was trying to sleep. So I'd drift off, and then I'd be awake again, and it just was miserable. Yeah, I want those skull details showing. I really, really do. So many people are afraid of like skulls, and I think it's just the idea of death and dying. And yeah, it's a reminder of our mortality, but there's also something kind of immortal, not immoral, immortal to a skull to me. That just makes them beautiful. And you're seeing all the structure and seeing where muscle attaches to bone and stuff like that. And it's just, they're so fascinating. I just absolutely love them. Let's do, I want to darken that right around the edges here. I don't know if I'm going to glue leather right at the base there. I might. I can see where I missed some of the blue too, so we'll just fill that in at the moment. And I'm glad I got a good varnish, because some of these teeth are just a little bit loose on this skull, and I don't want them falling out. Fun project for Halloween, huh? Okay, let's get the bigger brush, and we're gonna go inside the eye sockets. Sorry, that's my arm. That's a little more watered down. I'm gonna mix the brown and the black together for this. Couple in the pipeline. I'm actually gonna do oils on canvas, a big canvas, and acrylics on paper. Yeah, the thing with doing the acrylics on paper is they're a heck of a lot easier to ship. You know, if somebody buys one, it's a lot easier to mail that out than a whole canvas, especially international. My weavings, of course, are not going to be for sale on the web, just because trying to pack this and ship it would be a real pain in the tuchus. And I'm not worrying about in the back here too much, because this is going to be directly laying and attached to a weaving, so the back won't be as visible. But I do like to have the eye holes completely painted in because it looks more finished. And I like to have things look very finished. This also gives it a lot more depth. You know you're looking at a skull. You know, there's no question to it. I'd love to get a plaster of a human skull or something to work on. I don't want to work on a real one because that's just, ugh, I've held a real human skull in my college anatomy and physiology class for nursing. And we had skulls of children from Africa. And that was just, it was like I could feel the little girl's presence. And it's just, no, there are artists that do it, but no, I could not. Just no way. That just freaks me out. If I remember correctly, hubby got to hold a Neanderthal skull. That would have been cool. That would have been interesting. Let's see. Heh. That's cool. Yeah, Michael's does too. But right now I have enough skulls to paint on that are real ones. I'll stick with the animal ones for a while. Till I get my inventory cleared out. One of my winter projects, another nurse I worked with had crocheted me a Celtic vest, or knitted it, pardon me. And so it's got the Celtic patterning in it, and it's actually based off of an old Irish design. And it has a hood. She customized it for me quite a bit. And downstairs in my basement right now, I have an old blanket that they used to use on, doing the sleigh rides and the carriage rides in parks and stuff. That a lot of them were made out of horsehair. And I do have one made out of horsehair. But I also have another one made with wolf hides. And there's 5 wolf hides on this thing. And this blanket's probably about 60, 70 years old. So I'm going to take that blanket. I've already been cutting apart some of it and using it in pieces because the back of it was just wrecked. And I wanted it for the wolf hides anyway, but I mean, there's big hides on there. And I'm going to line the hood of this vest with wolf. And then I'll have my Game of Thrones Stark Winterfell hooded jacket. I'm bad. I just need to get Stark pin for it yet. That would be really cool. And then I'll have the best Game of Thrones geek wear anybody could want. So I got to get that done this winter because it is almost done. I just have to attach the wolf hair to it. Oh, I figured out how to get at that hole. Beautiful. Now for the weaving itself, I take the branch and I will tie the warp threads. I'll wrap them around the branch and then tie them so that they do come out a little bit. They're not perfectly straight, and they don't lay perfectly flat, so it makes it a challenge to weave in and out of them. But I'll do that, and then I just take whatever scrap yarns I find. This one I might go with all wool yarns. I'm not sure yet. And I just weave with the scrap yarns. And then I take like a mixture of hot glue and epoxy and stuff, and I will tie and then glue the skull directly to the weaving itself. And that's what I did on the coyote one. A little bit more. I need some more black. Where'd my black go? There it is. Yeah, it's the 27th today. Oh yes, Fiona. Yeah. Horses were like the first thing I ever drew. And yes, it'll be after Yule, but yeah. That I'm actually planning on doing a seahorse, a fantasy seahorse, so the front half is going to look like you'd expect an actual horse drawing. And I want to play with the ocean themes and stuff, so that's my plan for a painting as soon as I get all of my Christmas ornaments made for people for gifts and for family gifts and stuff. So that one I'm going to set up the easel because I'm planning it to be a really, really big canvas. And if it sells or not, we'll see. But I really want to do this painting. So yes, you read my mind, girl. All the show horses and stuff, and that's kind of hard because my mom had to put down her last horse this summer, I should say. And out of the 37 head that we had, Lance was the last one out of our stallion, and so it's really hit the family really hard. Because that was, growing up, that was my entire life. All I did was show, and we had 2 stallions, so we were dealing with a full breeding program, and then we had a nutrition program, and we were selling horse feed, and we'd design the feeding plans for people's show horses and stuff, and it was just all the time. That's all we ever did, and it's all gone now. And showing is so expensive now. In the United States, a trained grade gelding, one that's a mixed breed, if he's trained to ride, he'll go for $10,000. And our one stud horse we had, my parents paid $10,000 for him. He wasn't even born yet. That was just for him, and then they turned around and bought his mother later. And so we actually bred her back to him a couple of times just to breed for traits. And then we had other mares too that we bred him to, and we had some beautiful foals, but Lance was the very last one. And it's like that whole life is gone now, and it's just so hard. And I can't even begin to say how much I miss it. But my life took me another direction, and I had to go that direction. All right. So is it actually daylight savings this weekend? No, not for us. Okay. Nah. Oh, Fabio. That's just mean. I've drank horse milk. I've never had horse meat. We had one mare that just would not stop lactating, and it was like the one day I was little and I had to try it. Actually, it was pretty good. But, you know, I could have really gotten sick from that because, well, it's raw milk, right? But boy, you sit there and you have to milk a horse, and there are cats lined up everywhere. That was actually one of my really fond memories of childhood. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sign this bugger. Because other than glazing it over, it is done. I just got to get the right color to sign with here. Now, I tend to draw this split feather. This is kind of my artist logo. And what this is back when I was 17, I had this dream that I was showing my then boyfriend, who we're still friends, showing him all the paintings that I had done in my life. And I reached the very last painting and held out my hand, and this massive black eagle feather fell into my hand from the painting. And I knew that would be the last one I ever do in my life. And the feather had a split down the center of the shaft, and it had a big notch taken out of the side. So I brought this up to one of, I do believe the guy was Cherokee. I'd always been out at the horse farm and stuff and good friends with my parents. And he had told me that that was a symbol of how I had died as a warrior in my past life. That I had a violent death, but I had taken out some enemies at the same time. And so that's how I started using black feather back then. And just, it stuck all these years because, you know, I'm 51 now. And then when I went and did beadwork for the Ojibwe in Duluth, Minnesota, I actually did have my naming ceremony, and so Christina Blackfeather is my actual tribal name. And I had met the tribal elders in a bead store at the time I was in there shopping, and I had beadwork in the car because I was going to display some of it in the store. And elders had walked in and said, you know, we're looking for somebody to do some beadwork for us for some dance feathers. And here I had the stuff in the car, so we went out to my car and they looked at my peyote work and they're like, yes, we want you to do this. And so I have a bear claw choker in exchange. And I ended up doing 4 feathers, including a full wing feather, which had already been blessed. I mean, it was like holding the chalice from the Pope or something. I mean, it just, I was so nervous with that thing, but it was awesome. And so I do officially have a name. So it's one of the best things in my life. I was so happy I did that. Oh yeah, I suppose horse meat's kind of hard to cook with, like deer or antelope, where you don't have a lot of fat, so it does get tough. I like the antelope or the venison almost raw because it's still tender there. Oh, I grew up eating steak tartare. It's I enjoy it a lot. I don't have it anymore except at fancy restaurants or something, but that was one of my childhood treats. Love it. Let's see. Yeah, lemon and or vinegar actually cook kind of does the same as cooking the meat. Hence why I forgot what it's called, but you can cook fish in lemon juice, and there's actual dishes where that's required, and mainly in the island states, and they're very good. But yeah, the acid actually cooks the meat. Weight is one of my problems. Definitely one of my problems. Oh, ceviche. Thank you, Shar. Yeah, that's the dish. Yeah, I have a lot of problems with trying to lose weight. I have zero thyroid function. But I'm hoping once I get past the recovery from the surgery and stuff that I'm going to end up feeling a lot better and it'll be easier to work out. I was still working out before the surgery even though it hurt, just to try to keep the weight down. But I need to get to 140 pounds, and I'm right now, and my doctor said I was going to gain weight after surgery because I'm just not as active at this point. So I'm at about 220 right now. So I have a long ways to go. But beginning of 2017 and in 2015 when I got married, I was at 250 pounds. So I have made some accomplishment, just not enough. Okay, well, you guys, I am done painting, so there's the deer skull right there. And when I get the leather attached and the feathers and stuff, I will post pictures of it. Oh, I missed a spot. Look at that. But I'll put up pictures of the thing, and then after I get it attached to the weaving, I'll get photos of all the stages of this thing going. But I just thought this would be a fun thing on Halloween. You get people painting on paper mache and stuff like that, but I thought, hey, I have a real skull and I want to do this anyway. So why not? It wasn't a spooky craft unless you're spooked by skulls. So yeah, and more fun than painting a picture of a skull. Let's see, did I miss anything else? A little bit right there, maybe. Yep, right there. And a little right there. Okay, so since Captain Osimo is getting ready to start, we're going to call it an end. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by to visit. And oh my gosh, Fiona, I'm so thrilled that you're here. I really am, because I love your paintings too, and you're just awesome anyway. Especially when you laugh about birds farting to propel themselves across the sky. That was the best. So thank you guys. I hope you all had a good time, and I'll see you tonight with RSC on this channel, 8 p.m. Central Standard, and we'll be doing our discussion about healthcare and maybe the cost of veterinary care too. It depends on where it all goes, or anti-vaxxers, or who knows what. We'll figure it out. But anyway, blessed be everyone. Have a fantastic day. See you later. stop this crazy thing?